Al Hilal have beaten Manchester City in the FIFA World Club Championship, and why this is such a big result for the Saudi Pro League. And Man City are the best example. When teams invest heavily, when they pay a lot of money to get a lot of good footballers, there's always this respect factor. It's not really there until you actually do something with it, because there has been flash in the pans in the past. There has been the Chinese league, there's been the Russian league, where lots of money has been put into it, where players have gone there, but not a lot's happened. And it can create this illusion that that's what's going to happen again with the Saudi Pro League. But by going and beating a team like Man City, a full strength team like Man City, a team who have actually done the high finance, have done the whole bring the best players in the world to your team, and won, and have gained respect across the world because of the fact that they have won big games, they've had big moments, the Aguero, beating Real Madrid, winning the Champions League, winning the treble. People forget when you win. And Hilal last night got the job done, and it's the first tick towards respect. And it's hard, it's really hard for the Saudi Pro League, because you don't play a European team, so how can you gain respect? There's always going to be this, oh well, they'll never be as good as us. But actually, this tournament is the first time ever it's actually brought to light that we can actually compete against these European sides, not just compete against them. Saudi Pro League teams can actually beat them. And I've said from day one, this is a massive competition for the Saudi Pro League. It's a massive competition for Al Hilal. I have to say, I think they've been absolutely fantastic, undefeated so far. Real Madrid, Manchester City, even teams like Salzburg, who are a really well-established side in Europe, they're always in the Champions League. These are teams that I don't think anyone in their right mind expected them to win, but just compete, be present, don't get done 6-0 like some of the teams have done, like Al Ain did against Man City. Compete, be there. And I have to say, the big players, and this is what's really exciting about the Saudi Pro League, is that the big players, the big money players, Koulibaly, Milinkovic-Savic, Ruben Neves, Malcolm, these are guys who are turning up, they're showing up, they seem to be believing the fact that this is an important competition for the Saudi Pro League. And like I say, they are delivering. Let's talk about last night. I thought Man City were absolutely fantastic in the first half. They can be a little bit too much sometimes, even though it's so good on the eye. It can be a bit sideways, but some of the intricate passing, some of the chances, I thought Yassine Bounou was absolutely superb in the first half, kept them in it. He's got to be the goalkeeper of the tournament. But even on the highlights, watching it, you're like, come on, like, get it going. I was watching the longer highlights because, yes, 2 a.m. was too late for me. I wish I stayed up now. I wish there was some live reactions there. But they got the early goal, and you do worry. And the way the goal went in, it was a lovely move. Ryan, just a little pass over the top, 8 Nuris, but a little bit of suspicion of handball, but I can see why the ref didn't give it. And it was kind of bundled in, but it was a little bit sloppy from Al Hilal. And then the first sort of 8-9 minutes, you think, oh God, where's this going to go? And it kind of continued that way. And like I say, Bounou was very, very, very good in the first half. And I think it was a case for Hilal, just get to half-time, get to a bit of a reshuffle. And Man City, while being such a dominant force and such a good side, they do give away chances. They do give away moments. And you just thought to yourself, if Hilal could just hang on in there, you fancy them to score. And it actually came straight after the first half. And I thought Malcolm really came to life in this sort of phase of the game. We know he's got that drop of the shoulder. We know he's got that wonderful ability, that Mo Salah, Arjen Robben ability to sort of drop a shoulder, come inside. You know he's coming in on that left foot, but you can't stop him sometimes. He's so good at that, and he causes havoc for defenders. The fullback go with Cancelo going forward. That's what happened. Malcolm did a lovely little shimmy. Cancelo fired a great cross in. Ederson, could he have done better? Maybe. You would like to see it go sort of maybe wider, but it went straight down the middle. Bit of pinball in the middle of the box. And Leonardo, I've not been impressed with this tournament, but he was right on cue, exactly where you want your striker to be, in and around the 6-yard box, puts it away to make it 1-1. And then City do what they do. They tend to sort of pile on and they want to kind of really suffocate you. And it was an unbelievable pass by Cancelo. Just to recognise that situation, outside the boot, of that little bit of fade, that little bit of like take the sting out of it on the bounce, put Malcolm through. And I think the thing about Malcolm is, the biggest compliment I could pay Malcolm is that there's some players that when they go one-on-one, you don't fancy them at all. And there's some players when they go one-on-one, you go, that's a goal. That's a goal. And Malcolm went through one-on-one. I was only watching the highlights and I knew it was a goal because obviously I'd seen the result. But if I was watching the game live, I would have never been in doubt. And it wasn't just never in doubt. He absolutely buried it. I played it with pace into the far corner, past Ederson to make it 2-1, game on. A goal from a corner, Haaland gets a sloppy goal from a corner, but as did Koulibaly with a big header, and then suddenly the game's alive. We're in extra time, it's 3-2 to Hilal. Phil Foden scores a wonderful goal. Now I've, on TikTok, I've had a bit of to and fro with Man City fans, all kind of lighthearted and joking. I just said I feel like Hilal have got a good chance in this game. And even though Man City, I'm an Arsenal fan, I've kind of been like, oh, God, Man City. I would love to see Phil Foden get his form back. 2 years ago, he was absolutely superb. Last season, not so much. But that goal, the volley, sort of Marco van Basten-esque over the shoulder, it was a beautiful goal. It was a beautiful goal to make it 3-3. Suddenly, it's very much game on again. But Hilal still finds another moment. A great cross into the box. Milinkovic-Savic at the back post after some of the debates I had yesterday. I would have loved it to be Milinkovic-Savic to get the winner. Big header by the big man. He's so good at that, arriving late into the box. Ederson saved it. Again, I do think Ederson could have done better. I think it's got to go wider. He sort of parried it into the Leonardo. And Leonardo, again, right on cue, where you want your centre forward. No Mitrovic, no problem. Leonardo makes it 4-3. And Hilal have gone through to the next round of the Club World Championship, knocking out Manchester City, one of the favourites. And for me, it's just such a big result for the Saudi Pro League, as I say, because of the respect factor. I've had messages, I've never get any messages about the Saudi Pro League. I've had it's 8 a.m. here, and I've never get messages. I've had 2 or 3 messages saying, wow, Hilal got the job done last night. And that respect factor is absolutely huge when you're doing the high amount of financing that you're doing to bring these players across, because it creates the idea that you're just another one of those countries that have put a lot of money into the league. And like I said, it's really hard for these countries, especially in Saudi Arabia and in a different continent, to express how far they've come. And a big result last night against Manchester City really does bring that to the forefront. And I think the attraction of new players, there's always this thing, and look, I don't necessarily agree with this, but there's always this thing of, if you go in there from the Premier League, you're just taking the money. You're taking the money. Ruben Neves, he gets a lot of stick over here because he's a younger player that's gone out there. Even Milinkovic-Savic, who was 28 when he went out there. There's lots and lots of players signing for Saudi Pro League teams who are not over 30 in retirement and just taking the money. There's lots of players out there who actually want to go and express themselves and make the league better. And that's kind of, there's this arrogance of Premier League fans of, well, this is the best league in the world, so why would you go over there? Well, there's a very real alternative now, and it's different, and people don't necessarily understand it. I've lived in the Middle East, so I do get it. I do understand what the project is there. And for me, it's just, I cannot emphasise, as someone who lives in this country, what a big result it is, because City wanted to win this. There's 100 million up for grabs here. It's the first time this tournament has come into fruition in this way in the summer. So some fans will just, well, it doesn't matter because it hasn't got the history, right? But listen, financial fair play is a big thing in this country, and having an extra 100 million at your disposal would have been a big deal for any club. So the fact they've lost, the fact they haven't got that, will really put a dent in whatever progress they were looking to do in the transfer market. They bought all their players before this tournament started because they wanted to win this competition. And Al Hilal have come across and knocked them out. Full strength Man City team. Haaland was playing. Everyone was there. Hilal actually had players missing. Salem Al-Tazari, Mitrovic, big attacking players. Leonardo stepped up for Mitrovic. I thought Mohamed Kanu was absolutely brilliant. He's a player, by the way, who I've identified as, comes off the bench quite a lot, usually to close out games for Hilal, but he's a big guy, good on the ball, and as a replacement for Salem Al-Azhari, very, very different player. I think it actually helped because it meant that they could be a little bit more compact, a little bit more defensive, hit City on the counter-attack, just like they did for Malcolm's goal. Obviously a great component on set pieces as well, defensively and attacking-wise. And I thought that was a nice little move there by Inzaghi, just because he would go for a more natural winger to hit on the counter-attack with pace. But I think he thought, let's be a little bit more compact, and Malcolm and Leonardo and Mitrovic-Savic can still do their stuff. And do their stuff, they absolutely did. And I just think, going forward from here, Hilal, of course, there's no easy games when you're getting into the later stages of this tournament. But if Hilal can get a semi-final or final from this tournament, I do believe it's something that will just send shockwaves throughout the world. And I mean that, the world, because the Brazilian teams are doing great. I'm really impressed with the Brazilian teams, Flamengo and Palmeiras and stuff. Open my eyes and go, wow, okay, these Brazilian teams have got a bit about them. But don't underestimate the project because of the fact that so many players from the Premier League and Europe have gone to Saudi. This idea of like, oh, of course they did. Well, now it's like, oh, no, they're going there and they're building something. And when you've got the finances that they've got, they're not going to stop. And that's dangerous. And it just makes players kind of go, oh, so the respect factor's there, the money's there. maybe I am open-minded to going over there and giving it a try. Maybe I won't be judged as much. Because when Man City got all the money, and they were buying players like Adebayor and Gael Clichy and Bakary Sagna and Tevez and Aguero and all the players that they bought, until they won that league title, and until they got that Aguero and beat Man City moment, everyone went, oh, you're going to Man City for the money, are you? Eventually that starts to fade away because you're going to Man City to win things. And the Saudi Pro is a competitive league. It's been proven. Etihad last season, Hilal the year before that. It's a competitive league, mainly between 4 or 5 teams. And I think that we definitely want to sort of restructure the league so there's more quality size in the lower league. And that will come. That will take time. But it's a competitive league. So it's not one of these things where just one team runs away with it, like the Scottish league, for example. So it's something, in the German league to a certain extent as well. I know Leverkusen won it recently, but I think it's Bayern Munich 10 out of 11 or whatever it is. So it's a competitive league with massive growth, with massive financial opportunities. It's just that respect factor. Now, look, respect takes time because historically you have to deliver. And that's why, again, to my point here, it's such a big result. It's such a big result, not just for Al Hilal, but I think, if you're a Nasser fan, an Ali fan, an Etihad fan, a Qadsiya fan, Etifak, Shabab, get behind Hilal. You might not want to hear them if they win it. You might not want to hear the fact that they've done this, but it's a huge result, again, for the Saudi Pro League. And I can't emphasize that enough, based on someone over here who tries to get the product across and doesn't get any respect for it. So onwards and upwards we go. Hilal through to the next round. Manchester City are out. That's been Saudi Pro League TV, and I will look forward to speaking to you later on in the week. All the best. Bye-bye.